Yep. Definitely. Monica's going to share a little bit of more of her background, but what I love most about Monica is the way every single person that I've talked to that knows you has always said, you know what, Monica's always willing to help me out. Like I've reached out to her on a random, and I reached out to her, about a contract question. I reached out to her about, some social media tips, and everybody I talked to from and it's a lot of people, and I always get that feedback. So, I love that about you. I love the fact that you're leading with the giving, right? Like you're just contributing and making a difference for people. So let's go ahead and get started up by going back and sharing a little bit of your story, how you got started up. I know many people in this Zoom room already know you, but I would love to hear, interesting enough, we have a similar story, about, kind of like going back and getting started up in the business. Well, let's go from there. Let's get started up.
Okay.
Let's take us back. All right, cool.
Cool. Thank you, Leo.
Yay.
So I got, early on when I was still a teenager, 16, I think, through 19, I was working at a car dealership, or maybe 17, 18, 19. Yeah, a few years, 2 or 3 years. I was working at a car dealership, and I started off as a receptionist. And then, as a receptionist, I did a lot of computer work. I did all the inventory every day, for all the new cars that were coming in. I used to work for a Honda dealership. So, I got very organized when it came to the business. I had to make sure that I entered every single new car that came into the lot, and then all the cars going out. That was my daily job. Then I got so good at knowing, everybody was all the salespeople, they were like, Monica, do we have this car? Do we have this car? Do we have this car? And so it turned to me, I was always the backbone to all the salespeople, hey, Monica, blah, blah, blah. And I would be like, oh yeah, it's over here. Oh yeah, it's over here. Oh, the car's here. And I was always getting introduced to the clients, or they would be like, hey, can you go show it to them real quick? And because weekends I would go in, and literally I was instead of just sitting at the receptionist desk, especially after the where they fix the cars, what's it called? The service department.
The service.
Yeah. So, yeah, especially after the service department was already closed, I was always, eager to learn, and just kind of in everybody's office, hey, well, what's going on? Or can I sit into this? And I was always in finance, learning oh, wow, this is interesting. I'd love to do this one day. And then one day they were like, hey, we're opening an internet department. Do you want to be an assistant? And I was like, yeah, sure. So they had one of the sales managers became the manager for the internet department. He's like, okay, you're my assistant. Now what I need you to do is we have ads, and you're the one that's going to be going to be opening all of the emails, and you're going to call every single lead that comes in. So it was crazy, because I was young, and that's when the internet, there still wasn't I think there was MySpace at the time or something like that. So
yep.
People still weren't making money off of social media. It was still very email based, very just kind of web browsing based. No no content creators, none of that. Other than MySpace, you had some cool people to follow, but I don't think there was any monetary value yet. You froze. Am I frozen? Or is it just, okay, cool. It's just you. So
it was a glitch, huh? There was a glitch. Yeah. I don't know if it was on my end or your end, but
okay.
Yes, go for it. I heard the okay. MySpace, and I think you were saying that there wasn't really anybody monetizing, right? That's the last thing I heard.
So it was still very early on in the internet days, and I started, we opened up the internet department, and I got really good at the phones. I was converting like crazy. Then again, Hondas are kind of easy to sell. And back then the Honda SI had just came out, and everybody's like, I want a Honda. And, right. And I was selling like crazy. I was calling, and the internet department was hot. We grew to another manager. Then I had an assistant. And it kind of just went from there to where I was eventually, they're like, hey, we need you on the floor. Like, you can open and close. You're now a salesperson, go. And I was making really good money. And then the other sales agents got really upset because I was making more money than them, but I was also going to Cal State University, and they were like, well, it's not fair that she doesn't have to work bells, meaning 12-hour shifts. So I was like, okay. And so at the end of the day, my bosses were like, hey, you either have to quit school to work here, or you can leave. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to leave. Like, I don't need it that bad. I can find another job. So I ended up leaving. Then I purchased a home in 2019. So shortly after that, I was like, you know what? I have the money. I started bartending because I still wanted to be able to go to school. So now my income was bartending, which was still good income. I was able to have Monday through Thursday off. And I was only working Thursday night through Sunday night at a bar, which was perfect for my school schedule. Now I, had time to focus on school. And I bought the house. I rented 3 rooms out. It was a 4-bedroom house. I rented 3 rooms out. And with the 3 rooms, I paid the mortgage. So the only thing I was really paying for was bills. And even that, we were all splitting the bills. So it was very little that was having to come out of pocket for me. And then fast forward to, 2 years later, it's 2008. And I'm just like, oh, my payment is going to change very shortly. I'm going to have to pay 3 times my mortgage. So now I'm like, what the heck? Like, what did I get myself into? That was my first thought. Like, wait a minute. What did I just do? Like, what is happening? I forgot that I even had, I didn't know, I didn't understand loans. I just knew like, hey, this is your payment. You're going to pay 1,500 and you're good. And then, then I started to really look into it, and I was starting to get letters, and now your payment's going to change. And I'm like, wait, what the heck? What just happened here? And I couldn't keep up with it. I was like, no, there's no way I'm not going to spend. And at that point, the house was only worth half the price. It was worth 2 something. So I'm like, why am I going to pay this high mortgage? My house isn't even worth it. I can't even short sell it right now. That's how bad, like, nobody was buying. So I just left. Honestly, I don't even know what happened to it. I packed my bags and I just left. I left the house empty. I was like, sorry. I told my roommates, sorry guys, I don't know until like, when I'm you guys out. Have. Yeah. Like, you guys might have a little bit more time here, but I'm out. And I never looked back. I moved, I got an apartment, and honestly, I just knew that, like, I still want to buy property, but I just need to get more informed. So while I was going to college for nursing, I was like, you know what, let me take some electives. Let me do some real estate classes, because I wasn't more interested in the loans part than anything else. I was like, I want to learn, what is it? What is a loan? Like, what's an arm, what loan? What is, like, all these loans that I had no idea that were going on back then.
Yeah, you want to know what happened to you. You're like, what happened? Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was taking all these classes for real estate, and then they're like, you can get your real estate license. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I just wanted to take courses to better inform myself. But the courses that I did take qualified to get my real estate license. Fast forward, I did a whole bunch of different types of jobs. I did an internship for nursing, and I realized really quick that I was not into nursing. It was not right for me. It was very depressing. It was, dealing with death on a daily basis. And I was a very emotional person. And I was just like, I can't do this. I wanted to adopt kids. I wanted to take people home. And I was just like, I can't. This is a very stressful life. So I decided that wasn't for me. And I was still kind of on the hunt for, what do I want? What does Monica want? I always knew, though, the crazy part is that, like, I just had this conversation yesterday with some of the team. And I always knew, like, I've always known, like, I'm going to be successful. Like, I've always known it in my core. Like, I have never, ever been scared or doubted myself. I have hit rock bottom a couple of times, but I don't, when that happens, I don't get scared. I'm not like worried about it, because I just know, all right, that's one step closer to where I want to be. Right. So it's going to take a bunch of no's. It's going to take a whole bunch of, like, falling on your ass to to find like, to find, and to honestly, to not even just to find that job or that one thing, but more so to appreciate, because I had everything at one point, and I feel like I didn't appreciate it just because it was easy,
Yep.
if that makes any sense.
Oh, 100%.
So
100%.
yeah,
Yep.
so I feel like the more like the harder you work for it, or the more you fall on your ass, once you acquire what it is that you've seen in your vision for a really long time, it just tastes so much better. It's just like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, the blood, sweat, and tears that I went through for this, like, and you appreciate it so much more.
Oh, 100%.
So I ended up just doing a whole bunch of stuff. I was doing bail bonds. I was doing gosh, I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but I was always making money though. Like
Yeah.
my
Yep.
I was a hustler. I
Mhm.
still am. I
You're
would
still a
go.
hustler. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
still a
I
hustler.
still
Yep.
am. Like, I don't just, do this. I do a lot of little things. I've opened up so many companies. I've closed companies, but it's not going to stop me. I'll continue to start new companies. I'll continue to, do other things other than just real estate or whatever the case may be, because to me, that's exciting.
Yep.
And I've
I
always,
love that you're saying that and that you're sharing that from that perspective. Cause I think that number one, you're sharing a story. You've gone through so many different experiences that have led you exactly to where you're at right now. You haven't been afraid of like just getting yourself back up. So what,
yeah.
like, I know we're going to be talking about, obviously the way that you're monetizing your business now, but I want to like, that was gold right there. Like, talk about why your mindset is the way it is that way. Like what was it for you that kind of broke that open and started to have you think in that way?
You know what? Like, I saw the struggle that my parents had, and my parents were very like conformist, like
Mhm.
very like, oh, like I wanted to be, actually, interesting enough, I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. I wanted to be a doctor. My parents were like, oh, you should be a nurse. You only
Mhm.
need a few years of school, and it's, you get quick income, and it's good
Yep.
income. You're going to make so much money. And if you become a doctor or an anesthesiologist, you're going to go to school forever. I even wanted to become a dentist. And I got a lot of negativity from them, but not like, not because they didn't believe in me, but it was more out of like safety and
Yeah. It was their
just,
mindset. It was their
yeah,
mindset. Yeah.
it was their
Yeah.
mindset. And
Yeah.
for me, I was like, I as a even as a little girl, even though I never knew that like we didn't have it all, because I never like lacked anything, right? I didn't have the coolest stuff, but I always had what we needed. We were happy. But even as a little girl, I felt trapped. I felt
Right.
like, this is it. Like, no, there's got to be way more to life. Like, I
Mm.
always knew that this was not my life.
Mm.
And as I started getting older and like reading books and just kind of like learning, this person that is successful, what's the difference between them and me? Well, really, it's nothing. Like, I can
Tell
become them.
tell us a little bit about the books. Tell us like what books made a difference for you, because I think that'll be really valuable for everybody to like what got you started up.
I mean, definitely like Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep, classic.
Um, yeah, like, and it was before even real estate, it was
Yep.
before I even knew that I wanted to be in real estate. Um, I was always I was having to read books from just because we were required to read books. Honestly, I don't even remember some of the books that I read, but it was just the simple fact that like, okay, this girl was in Paris, like
Yes.
some of the books were not even like inspirational. It was just about a person from another, like
Mm.
from another country, where I never imagined myself even going to another country other than Mexico. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like my family doesn't travel. Like there's no way I could ever travel. But reading these books and hearing like stories and even fantasies, I was like, I can do this. I can be on the other
Yes.
side. I can go to a grand ball. I can
Mm.
go to the Grammys. Like I was very, I just knew like I can do this.
I love
Um,
that. It gave
And
you
I
massive
don't know.
perspective. It gave you
Yeah.
new perspectives. Yeah.
Yeah. Even like when it came to the husband that I imagined for myself, like I knew that the husband I was going to marry. I already knew. Like I had him implanted in my head, not the looks, but just like what I expected from him. And if he didn't match that category, I only dated two people. I was not like a serial dater. I didn't like, because if that person didn't match like my values, I never
Mhm.
gave them the time of day. I went single for 5 years and I learned to love myself, to be alone, because if someone wasn't up to par with what I envisioned, I wasn't going to give it the time of day
That's
whatsoever.
that's a major
Whatsoever.
key. Major
Yeah.
key. Major key. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to, and you have to be a stand for
Yeah.
that, right? And obviously I know
Yeah.
Les, he's an awesome dude. So I
Yeah.
mean you did extremely well, right? You
Yeah.
held your standard to that and
Yeah.
manifested it. Yeah.
Yeah. And even him, I honestly didn't, we talk about it now. Like, I didn't think he was the one for me. Like, we both had really, really the same values. We were huge visionaries, which I love about him, because he's even bigger than me. Like, he blows me away. And that's,
Whoa, Miss Monica, are you freezing on my end or can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Monica. All right, she'll be back.
No.
She will be back right now. All right,
hold on,
cool.
hold
There
on,
you
hold on.
go. You're back.
You know what it is? Hold on. Oh, this is okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just turned off the Wi-Fi in my office. I have Wi-Fi on my laptop. All right,
Go
cool.
for it.
Yeah, no, even with like my husband, like we didn't think we were going to work out for each other, but we just did. It just, it happened. But yes, he had to meet some of those standards that I required for myself. So but I was like this with everybody in my life. Call it shallow, call it what you want to call it. Many people walked out of my life because they thought, oh, Monica's big timing me. She doesn't have time for me. She's too cool. She's making money. She can't hang out anymore. And I just, it's not that I love them, but I knew who I wanted
Your
to surround
standards.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
had
had a standard.
standards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your standards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's key.
yeah. And I didn't want to, be the smartest one in the room all the time. I was like, no, I need to put myself in rooms where I'm going to learn, where I'm going to grow. And that's just the mentality I've always had. I've
I love
always,
it.
like, since I was young, I've always had that mentality. So when I met my husband, he was the same way. So it worked out for us. It worked
I
out for us.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. And I think
So
everybody could take away a lot of that. Like you got to have standards,
Yeah.
for your partner, your business, everything you're doing in life, you have to have a standard.
Yeah.
So take us back. How long have you been in real estate now? And obviously you work with some really awesome clients. I mean, I know that you've shared some of those things. So share with us how you even got that, you going from all of those different things that you did.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I really helped my husband establish his business, and because I've always been a go-getter and everything. I helped him with his business, and then we got pregnant, and then I was like, you know what, I want something for myself. After I got pregnant, I realized, well, I was actually a stay-at-home mom for 3 years. So, but then that was not me. That was not the life that I wanted. I was like, you know what? His business was booming. So I was like, you know what? I want something for myself. I took the real estate exam 6 or 7 years after I took all of my courses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So did you have to renew the whole thing because they expired, right? Or what?
No, I didn't.
How did you pull it off?
I didn't have to then. I don't know.
Interesting.
I thought I was going to have to, but I didn't. The classes were still, they were still good. And I took the test. I failed because I didn't study. One of my friends told me, she was like, look, go cold turkey, find out what you need help on, and then study. So I took the test. I failed. I scheduled for the next week. I failed again. And then I took a crash course and then I passed all within a month.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was all within a month. I was like, I know I'm going to get it. And I just kept rescheduling. So I did that. But wait, what was your question?
Yeah, like, so you got into, when was this? When did you get your license and how did you get
When,
started up? Yeah.
so 2017.
Okay, cool.
2017. Okay. So yes, now what you were saying. So yeah, I've worked with some big clients. So here's the thing. I was a mom, a stay-at-home mom for years. I grew my account to 5,000 followers as a stay-at-home mom. I was just posting my kids. I was posting like fun things that we would do, vacations. I was at the time, I mean, I told you guys I've opened up a bunch of businesses and closed businesses. At the time I was working on when my son was first born, I was working on a clothing brand, a kids clothing brand. And then like a year later, we ended up closing that. So I was doing all of these things. And with that, I was showing like my following, like, the things that I was doing, like just the clothing brand, going to the manufacturer and doing all these exciting things. So my following grew to about 5,000 organically. And then once I passed and got my real estate license, I actually went to Keller Williams and I wanted to sell luxury real estate. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I go to an area where the office is in a luxury area? So I went to Larchmont, which back then I used to live downtown, so it wasn't too far. I went to Larchmont area in Los Angeles, like mid-city. And we had to do caravan every week as a new agent. So I was going to different houses every single week for brokers open. And I was just posting the open houses. I was posting the houses. So now how people like film walkthroughs. I was doing that back then. And not a lot of people were doing that. Not a lot of agents were utilizing their social media. But I was like, you know what? I already have a little bit of a following. I have all these moms. Let me just continue to post. I was getting a bunch of feedback. And I started doing that like almost on a weekly basis and posting it and posting for sale. And it was $3-5 million properties. And then it wasn't until it took me a long time though to get my first deal. It took me 6 months of consistent posting because I was, number one, I didn't need the money at the time. I was more so taking a bunch of classes. Keller Williams offers a whole bunch of classes. So for like 16 weeks, I think it is, there's this one course. I took it. I wasn't out there. I was just doing social media because I was like, you know what, right now I just want to learn. I just want to learn. I was just taking everything in. And then after 6 months of posting, I had somebody reach out to me and they were like, hey, Monica, I'm interested in purchasing a property in Corona Del Mar. I know that it's not within the price range that you normally sell, but would you be willing to work with me? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like,
you're like, maybe I'll work with you.
I know, right? I was like, yeah, of course. I'm like, well, what's the price range? I mean, Corona Del Mar sounds pretty fancy. Like what, like how cheap can a house be? And she was like, it's $1 million. And I was like, of course I'll help you. Like, you know, and then she goes, great, because we actually just went to an open house and we fell in love with the property. So I wanted to see if you could submit an offer for us. I kid you not, I hadn't even seen the house. I submitted the offer. We got the offer accepted. And I got them closing costs. I got them a lower offer. And I even, the transaction got super rocky. The agent had like vested interest. And then she had like 2 properties tied to that property. And we were about to like cancel. And they were like, we'll throw in all of the furniture. So then and they lowered the price even more. So we were like, okay, fine, we'll keep it. We'll keep the furniture. It was a really cute beach house with the rooftop. And at the end of the transaction, we spoke with her and my broker was like, didn't she do amazing for her first transaction? And she was like, her first transaction? What do you mean? And he was like, yeah, this was her very first transaction. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow. So so that's kind of where it all started is after that, my mind was kind of
Congrats. That's
blown.
bad.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. That is
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was kind of mind blown because I didn't expect to really sell from real estate. I mean, from social media. I was just more so learning at the time. I was like, you know what? I will
Mm,
do the door knocking and cold calling when I'm ready, which I was doing a little bit of, but I knew if I wanted to sell, I was going to have to do those things. Right. So I was just taking my time at the time. I was like, let me just learn a little bit more. Let me read some books. Let me do this. Let me do that. Once I sold that, I figured out like the true value in social media. I was like, wait a minute, I just sold a property that I did never even stepped foot in. And somebody saw me on social media, like maybe, maybe this is something, like maybe I
yeah.
can take it to another level. So I just started creating more content, more and more and more. And I was getting more people like interested. And I was getting regular buyers. And then one day, one of my friends, which a lot of you guys know, who's a makeup artist, I was always too shy to kind of reach out to like certain people because I'm like, I'm sure they get hit up all the time and they're always, people are always wanting favors from them, these influencers. So I never asked her like, hey, are you looking for a house? Do you need an agent? But instead, I was posting a lot of these luxury properties. And my friend was like, she reached out to me one day and she's like, hey, Monica, I really saw this property that you posted. It's a farmhouse style. She's like, that's the exact same style that I'm looking for. Can you get me like some information on that property? And I was like, yeah, of course. I sent it to her. And then we talked and she's like, well, I already have an agent. She's like, I have an agent, but I don't think he understands my style. He doesn't
Mm,
understand what I'm looking for. And you just posted this one, and this is exactly what I'm looking for.
wow.
She's like, he's not from the area. So I don't know if it's that. And on top of that, like, it was like her manager. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
well, I totally understand if, you have to do business with him. And I was like, but here's the property info, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, she's like, I want to work with you. When can you start showing me property? And I was like, let's go now. And we looked at one property, submitted an offer. They had just opened escrow, so we didn't get that one. And then we looked at maybe a couple more. She wasn't very picky, but she knew what she wanted. So I only sent her properties that I knew she would like. And sure enough, we got her into escrow, super smooth transaction. 30 days later, she's a homeowner. And not once did I ever post it because, again, she was my friend. I was like, you know what? I don't want her to think that if I'm posting, even though I post for myself, like I don't want to do that to my friend. To
mm,
think that, oh, I want her followers or I want, people to post me or anything like that. So I never posted anything like us doing showings, the houses, the properties. We signed NDAs with the listing agent, like everything, because I wanted to keep it as private as possible. And she was so happy at like my professionalism. She was just like, you're my friend. Like, I wouldn't care to post you. Like, I wouldn't care if you tagged me. But I'm like, yeah, but on the flip side, like, you're my friend and we're doing business together. So I also don't want to take advantage of
right.
that. Right. I said, I want to be as professional as possible. So I'm not going to do that to you. The day of her closing, I did record, but it was just like Lester. I was like, hey babe, can you record this? This is gonna be for them. We'll give it to them. We're not gonna post it. Because I had a mariachi waiting for her inside of the house. And
Nice.
I wanted to get the reaction. So we recorded that part and she was like, I sent her the video afterwards and then she posted it and she was like, oh my gosh, friend. And then once she posted, and actually she didn't even post for like a month later because we wanted to make sure that like the name wasn't coming up on title and all that stuff. We want to make sure everything was good, that people weren't going to get put two and two together and pull up, oh, who
Right.
just bought a house in this area, blah blah blah. So it wasn't until about a month later I had already sent her the video. That was it. Like we celebrated, we never posted it, and then like a month later, out of nowhere, she posted me and she was like, thank you so much to my realtor. She posted the mariachi video all on her own. And after that, it was like I got another influencer and then another influencer and then more
Wow.
followers. And it kind of just really, really helped me with my business and especially with the influencer world, because now I had a relationship with the bank. We actually went through 3 different banks when getting her pre-qualified because they didn't understand the YouTube business. They didn't understand how they were making money. They were like,
Mm,
well, this isn't long term. This has only been happening for a short while. I don't like, we can't, even though there's taxes, like we can't really, they just were not accepting YouTubers as like clients. So we got rejected from 2 banks. And then finally one bank was like, I'll take it. I'll take a YouTuber, an influencer. That's a new category, but we'll take that risk. And they had
wow.
a really long talk with me and my broker, and they're like, look, we're really like, we are like this is really hard for us to do because our asses are on the line. Our asses are on the
Yeah.
line for a really long time, for at least a year. If they default, like we're basically like,
Responsible. Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
super responsible. And I was like, you have my word. They're not going to default. And then he was like, okay. And sure enough, she closed, everything was good. And then the next one, and then the next one. And so we built a relationship with that bank. So for a while, I want to say like it was the only bank that was really working with influencers. And every time I would say, hey, it's mine, I was working with with what is it called? The AE, I think, direct. And he was like, if it's for Monica, it's fine. Like
Wow. You built up a
anytime,
reputation with
yeah,
them.
because I
Yep.
built a reputation. So they were like, anything Monica presents to us, we'll take it because we know that she's very responsible and she only brings us qualified, quality clients. So that kind of helped me too to market other influencers and YouTubers and makeup artists because you know what, now I had that relationship with the bank and I was like, hey, look, this bank, they're not even taking that much down payment. It's a really low down payment. We can do bank statements. Like you don't have to file taxes. I know your guys' taxes are all crazy because it's a
Yeah.
different industry. And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah. So it's really like providing value too to
Your
these
customers into
to
your
my
audience. Yeah.
customers, yeah,
Yeah.
because all of them didn't think that they could purchase a home,
Mm.
especially with the way that they were filing taxes or not. They were just like, well, we know we're making money, but like, I
They don't
know,
know they didn't even
yeah.
know they could be in the
They're
running
like,
for a
we
home.
thought,
Yep.
yeah, they're like, we thought we needed 2 years, and we thought, like it was their mentality was different. So once I came in and I was like, actually, you only need this, and you're good to go, and you can purchase a $2-3 million home. They're like mind blowing, like, oh my gosh, like I
Monica's
love
the
you.
plug. Monica's the
Yeah,
plug moving forward, right? You're
yeah,
for that entire community. That's
yeah,
that's so
exactly.
cool. And that's
Yeah,
why it's so important to understand your audience, right? Understand who you're serving and then understand that niche product. And obviously then you utilize that and then you're known as the plug, right? For
yeah,
that kind of
that kind of
business.
audience.
So
Yeah.
if we can get into, if somebody is like, let's just say you were to start over right now and we're giving this advice to everybody in here in the Zoom, right, that is either live or the recording, what would you say are the must things to do? Like what kind of schedule they should run on social media? Like give them the playbook. Like what do they got to do?
Okay. I so here's the thing. I'm not your conventional agent. I'm not your wake up at 4 in the morning and you got to work out and you got to do this and write in your journal and do that and blah 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 and come home and eat some pebbles at lunchtime. Like that's not me. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but
Okay.
I never wanted to live my life that way. Like
Mhm.
I just knew, like, I don't, number one, I have a crazy husband. We're always at games. Like he's in the entertainment business. We're always at games. We're always entertaining. Like sometimes I'm up late and I can't be up super early. Now, I mean, I have kids and I take them to school. I choose to take them to school because for
Yeah.
me, that's quality time. So the latest I'm up is, 6:30, maybe 7. But for me, it was like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to be what's the word? Like, I don't want to be bored. I don't like routine. I don't like routine. So, for me, I'm just like, I don't want it to be the same thing over and over and over every single day. So to say that I have a routine, I would be lying if I say that I don't, because there is somewhat a routine. But
Mhm.
the thing that I'm bigger on more than anything, more than like a really heavy set routine, is mindset.
Mm.
Mindset to me is more important than having a routine, because sometimes you have to get out of the routine to get your mind straight before you can reach the next level. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you have to do the complete opposite. Sometimes you have to shut down. Sometimes you have to turn off your Instagram and reset so that you can give it your all moving forward. So for me, it's always having a really good, solid mindset that's going to help me moving forward. I have to like re-energize myself, my core, and working out. If you can't work out in the mornings because you're a mom and you have to wake up early and you have to take your kids to school, I've learned that, you know what, it's okay to work out at noon. It's okay to work out at 2 o'clock and take a break and go get your workout on, and not have a schedule, but to do the things that are important that are going to give you a good mindset. I feel like men have it easier than women, because women take on that like home role where hey, you go take the kids. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to write in my journal. I'm going to get to the gym at, 6 a.m. every day. And you take care of the house. But that's a lot of pressure on us. What about my mindset? What about my routine? What about me eating healthy and getting, all of my vitamins in the morning? I'm running out the door, no makeup on, like half asleep. The kids are dragging ass. So for us, it's a lot different as females and mothers than it is for males, 100%. But what I've learned now is that you have to make time for yourself. You
Mm.
have to. You have to. Uh, I've learned that not being in the business as much and taking yourself out for self-care can actually develop more business for you in the long run, just because now your mindset is straight. You're more productive during the time that you do have, because now it's like, okay, I've taken time to take the kids to school. I've taken time to work out. I've taken time to eat healthy at whatever hour I decide to throughout the days. But now I'm limited to a very short amount of time for business. So make that short time, make it count, right? So
Mm.
one thing for me that is super important in my business is content creation. Content creation is huge. If I'm not creating content, I'm not, that's like door knocking or cold calling for most people that do your conventional, like your conventional ways of getting leads. I'm more of like, hey, I need to create content. So for a long time, I created content on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock every single Tuesday. Or every other Tuesday, if I needed to put 2 Tuesdays together, I would just do a couple hours instead of like 1 or 2 hours, and I would create content for the whole week or for 2 weeks. And then I would generate leads like that throughout the week. As long as I'm creating content, then I know that people are going to be messaging me, people are going to be asking me questions, people are going to be scheduling appointments with me. So for me, that was really, really important. It was creating the content, because if you're not doing anything, you also you also have to. It's a routine without a routine. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's a routine
totally.
without having a set schedule, but making sure that the important things you touch on a daily basis, no matter what time of
That's
the
the
day.
beautiful, that's the beautiful part. That's why I wanted you to share, because I don't think there's not a one size fits all, right?
No.
I love that you said that. And huge shout out to you and all the moms in the room as well. Thank you, ladies, for doing what you do, right? But seriously, right? You got to develop your schedule around how it works for you. And I
Mhm.
think that that's extremely valuable for people that are listening in and like, well, I don't my routine doesn't need to look a certain way for me to
Right.
succeed, right? You're doing it completely your way, around your lifestyle, around your family, around the way you want to live. And like one key thing you said, it was like sometimes it's doing the complete opposite, which is kind of unplugging, right? Where you're going to get
Mhm.
more of the brilliant ideas. So it sounds like, and do you still keep the schedule like Tuesdays at 2 p.m.? Do you create content And what are like other things that you would say if these ladies or gentlemen want to create content? What are things that they should think about on creating content? How do you gather your ideas? Walk us through some of those things.
Yeah, so I think it's really important if you are wanting to take social media, if you're wanting to bring that on as a lead generation source, and you're new to it, definitely set a schedule with that, because it's so easy to postpone it, because you're already generating business whichever way. You're doing open houses, or you're cold calling, or you're door knocking, but you're missing out on opportunity. And so if this is something that you're trying to get into, for sure, schedule it, or else you're never going to do it. Schedule it, create, and the crazy part is that you don't even have to like, you don't even have to get any like ideas or create new reels or new videos. You go and recreate somebody else's. That's what I was doing in the beginning. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love this one. I love this one. I love this one. And I see when I create certain videos and I use my own sound, I see thousands of people using my sound. And I'm like, this is pretty cool that, they're recreating it, but they're doing their own thing, right?
It's spin.
Yeah, there's a spin. It's in your office. It's wearing the clothes that you're wearing. It's you. Like, nobody can recreate you. So no matter how many people are going to recreate it, I know that mine is not that it's original, but it's original to me, because there's only one me, right? There's only one me, and you can compare all you want, but this is me, and you're never going to get a duplicate of me. So I can recreate the exact same thing as Leo's doing, but it's going to be totally different because it's me. Yep. Right? So you don't have to completely come up with a new idea. You can just take somebody else's idea, do your spin, do your twist, do it your way, and there you go. Like, it takes half of the time, more than half of the time, I want to say, I wouldn't even find my ideas until my videographer was already in my office. He's like, so what are we doing today? I'm like, I was hoping you'd have some ideas. And to be honest, he wasn't even bringing me ideas. He was just like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, okay, I saved these, and I would send them to him, and he was like, all right, let's do it. And he would just kind of give me like different, sometimes we would actually, I would go to open houses or properties. I would just tell them, I most of the time I'd ask, like, I'll still to this day, I'm like, hey, can I use your property? I'd love to take a walkthrough video and post it on my social media. And so as long as they say yes, I do the video, I do the walkthrough, but then I'm also creating other content in that home. And I do it at properties that are nice, that look nice. And I do it at properties that have, that are staged. So that way my content looks different every time I post, right? So that way they always look nice, and it looks like a really nice home. And I tell the listing agent, like, hey, I want to go in, I want to do a video, I want to send it to some clients or post it on my social media. Right now, everything, I mean, a lot of things are sitting. So most agents are going to say, yeah, please, be my guest.
All day.
Like, get it out there. And that's the easiest thing you could literally do. You can use your cell phone. A lot of my walkthroughs are with my cell phone.
Okay, cool. That was going to be my next question. So you're using cell phone, and obviously you said videographer.
And my videographer, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
And oftentimes it's easier to do the reels with your phone. So oftentimes he would just do the reels with my phone. The only time he would really use any type of like high quality resolution is if I wanted to do like an informational one where I'm actually speaking. So then I would be like mic'd up, and then I would it would be like, like mic'd up with the cameras and the lighting and all of that stuff. I did like a birthday shoot. Obviously that one was like more professional, but we were doing a good mix of cell phone and professional. Like,
awesome. Yeah. Cool. Talk about apps. So any apps that you use specifically that are really helpful for your content creation?
You know what?
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You don't have to have them, but
yeah, I'm going through my little.
I'm always learning some new ones. I'm like, oh, I never heard of this one, right? So
not really. Dazcam is cool for I like Dazcam for like effects. So it kind of gives it like a vintage
effect.
if you want. It's like a cool filter and everything looks vintagey, almost like you're taking a picture with not a Polaroid. What's it called?
Yeah, I
The one.
think it is a Polaroid, right? Like where it kind of just prints it
No,
out.
not that one.
No.
The ones
Oh.
where you would have to go take to develop.
Like film camera.
Yeah, like a film camera.
Thanks, Alondra. Yeah.
It kind of makes it look like a film camera. Now what I do is I just mostly record with my cell phone, and then I just turn it into Reels. Like Reels has made it so easy to edit that you don't really need to use anything else. I'll use filters. I love filters, but other than that, it's really just using my cell phone and then editing right directly onto Reels. And I think Liz actually talked about that last week too, where she does the same thing, because you can add from different videos, pictures, whatever it is that you want. And then you can also, there's InShot. I think everybody uses InShot. InShot, I use that one sometimes too.
Okay.
That's the only like fancy app that I really use, where InShot kind of helps to create like videos, make them a little bit shorter. So something that's super long, you can make it shorter or cut it up. But majority of my stuff, I just use just the Reels, like the Reels app.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, we're about to wrap. We're like 8 minutes away from wrapping up. So let's talk about, obviously you have a podcast. I'm really excited about that. Liz was sharing about the podcast last week, so that's awesome. So we got to let us know how we can get you connected to that. What's vision for you, right? Next 12 months, what does that look like for you? What are your goals?
Next 12 months there's so much going on that I'm like everywhere. So we're growing our flip business. We are hoping to do 15 to 20 flips this year. And so that's super exciting. And then
a lot of content right there too.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of content saved, but there's just not enough time in the day where I'm just like, it's so hard. There's so many things that are happening. It's so hard to like, but we are catching all the content. So once I catch up to life, I'll be able to post more content, but we do have tons of content on the flips. Like we basically created a reality show.
Oh, dope.
And we just haven't released it yet. I don't know why, because it's hilarious. So we're doing the flips, the podcast. I just want it to grow. We're going to have our first guest next week. So I'm super excited about that. And I just think like our guests are going to be super fun. And I can see that one growing really fast and being really fun. There's really no there's no schedule. There's no plan for that one, for our podcast. It's just a little bit about everything in life.
Like a passion project, it sounds like.
Yeah. And it's super fun. And we get to create content more than anything. And then growing the EXP business, growing our team. And that's really, what I have in store for the next 12 months. Yeah.
I love it. Very cool. So let's open it up for any other questions anybody else may have in the comments. There's a bunch of really positive comments. Everybody loves you for sure. I see that. Any other maybe questions you may have for Monica? This would be an opportunity for you to ask. There was a question about editing, and I think you kind of answered that. It was about you use the actual app, right? Like Instagram or whatever platform.
Yeah. Because the actual like fancy stuff that my videographers take, like they do that, and then if I create a reel, I just kind of cut it up and I just put a song. If you put a song on anything, it freaking looks amazing.
It's lit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Put a song on anything. And the crazy part, so I just posted 2 videos yesterday. We posted 2 videos. One of them was professionally, or yesterday or the day before. One of them, if you go on my Instagram, one of them was professionally done, which was the one with Lamighty was in it and you guys were there. And it was fire. It was a really good video. But the one that we did for fun with our cell phone and posted that one yesterday,
just do it,
got way more views than the beautiful professional video that we took. So that goes to say that just because it looks fancy and it looks nice doesn't mean that it's gonna do better than something that you do from your cell phone. We literally did the other one with our cell phone. I think you can see you can see the fun that we had. You can
Yep.
see like the friendship that we all had in the video. You can just see that it wasn't something that we planned, because we didn't plan that one. It was just like, hey, we're all here. Let's do a reel real quick. And it was just fun. So I feel like people can see that energy reflecting.
Yes.
So and the professional one, I mean, it was beautiful. I love the other one too. I thought it was super cool. But that just goes to show that it's not like one size fits all. It's not all. Some people have amazing, amazing pages and they're all super professional and really, really nice, but they're not doing as well as maybe somebody whose page looks a little chaotic, but it's them. It's
just
them. It's
authenticity
raw,
is king or queen.
authentic. Yeah. And raw and authentic does really, really well.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a huge nugget and takeaway for everybody. You know, it's just like, get out of your own way, do your raw, authentic self. That's going to shine through way more than, you know, a professionally edited video. And there was one question, what types of reels do you see getting the most engagement? Walkthroughs, educational polls, or which? That was a question that was just asked.
Walkthroughs do amazing. If you do walkthrough videos, I recommend that for growing your page. Walkthrough videos are super good. And you can do those on your cell phone. The thing is that you can't just work on it for a week and then decide to come back next month and think that, oh, this sucks. This doesn't work. I don't know what, you know, that person is doing. It's being consistent. You may not see results right away, but as long as you continue to be consistent, then you'll see the results. You'll see the results then. And also, like, it's providing value. I know in the last year, I haven't provided as much value as I would like, because I just get so caught up with everything else that it's hard for me to like really plan out what is it that I want to talk about, what am I going to discuss, what, you know, I have to kind of jot down my ideas. But when I was first doing my reels, where I was planning them with my videographer, I was like, hey, you know what, I want to do informational videos. I want to teach them, you know, how much can somebody qualify for, how much, like, it just informational, what's the market rate going for, and those were doing really well. So I think I have to take it back now, because I noticed that my reels are not that they're not doing as good, but my reels are a little too fun right now. And I think I need to take it back to the fundamentals, and go back to being of value, especially if you don't have a following. That's the best way, is being valuable, giving information, creating authentic content, and that's going to help you grow in the long run.
I love it. I love it. Intention, right? You started off with it, everything with intention, and that you're just getting intention into it. So a question that Natalie posed, do you ever post on TikTok and download it to your phone and then post it as a reel on Instagram? I know it's all about sound and algorithm. So would that mess up with the view count we might get, right? And
yeah, so I have noticed that when you do that, it's not the best. And people say that you want to kind of upload in their native channel, or the native application. But even then, like, I created a video on TikTok, which I should dig into TikTok a little bit more, but I created a video on my cell phone with one of my agents, and on TikTok, we got like 4.5 million views on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it got so many. And I went from like 500 followers to like 8,000 followers.
What was the video about? What was the video?
It was it was actually kind of funny. It was me acting as a buyer and she was acting as an agent, and we were walking through a house and I kept talking crap about the house, and I was like, ew, I can't believe they painted this house black. Ew, I hate the curtains. Ew. And I was just like talking crap. And then at the end, she was like, sorry, your offer didn't get accepted. And I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't it get accepted? It was like dumb. It was, it was like
but dumb. That's real life though. That's real life. Like that happens, right? You get the client that questions everything. Like,
yeah. And then I was like, why did my offer get accepted? And we just kind of went around the house, and I was like, okay, let's do this one. And we did it, and it got 4.5 million views. And then I did another one, just like on my outfit, and that one got like 2 point something.
Wow.
Yeah, but I didn't keep it up. And that's the thing. Like I wasn't persistent. So you have to be consistent if you want to grow and if you want to get followers. So if you're only going to do it here and there, I mean, your page can grow, but it's not going to be valuable to you. You have to use it all the time. You have to use it consistently.
100%. Consistency is the key. There was one last question we'll get to because it is 3:01 already. So it says, how do you feel about posting your personal life and kids on social media? Do you ever get nervous about your privacy? Question.
I used to, my husband used to, but I feel like now, like, I don't care. I mean, I won't post like what school they're at or, the obvious. But at the same time, as you're growing your page, it opens up doors to many, many things other than just real estate or your business, right? Like you get so many opportunities. Like now I'm getting people that I've been getting companies that are like, hey, I want to send you a box of clothes. I want to send you a box of shakes. I want to send you this and that. And for me, I'm like, it's kind of eye-opening where I'm like, oh shoot, like I can do more than just real estate from social media. I can sell anything, right? As long as you have the people that follow you. And so for me, I kind of want them to, because at first they were very, very shy. And now I kind of want them to be okay with the cameras. I want them to, I don't film them if they don't want to. And for a long time, they didn't want to. They'd be like, Mom, stop recording me. Now my son's like creating unboxing videos and I haven't even posted those, but he's like, Mom, because he watches it on YouTube and he's like, I want to unbox my new Jordans. And he's doing it on his own. My little one got like a little, wallet and he's like, Mom, I want to do actually we found it in Lester's phone. He did an unboxing video on his little wallet and I was like, oh, this is cool, because being in front of the camera, you have to be kind of a different person, right? So I want them to be comfortable to be being behind the camera, because and then now they're like, I want a YouTube channel, I want to do this. And I'm here for it, right? If that's what they choose to do, I want to do it for them, because no matter who they become, no matter what they decide to do later on in life, like social media isn't going anywhere. It's not going nowhere. So whether they decide to be a jeweler or they want to, be whatever, sell cakes, that social media is going to really help them. So I want them to see like the value in it, be comfortable in front of cameras, be themselves. So now I'm totally okay with them being on social media.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for bringing so much value today, Monica. It's
been
amazing
Leo.
Getting to know your story a little bit more. And thank you all for tuning in today. That has been the Content Creator Mastermind. Stay tuned for next week. We got another special guest. And thank you, everybody. Once again, have an amazing day. Go create some content. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, Leo.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.